Hi everyone, it's Emily and we're back with another monthly pickups video. So January was an interesting month for me. I picked up more new releases than I typically do, as well as a lot of reprints and a few other kind of older game finds. And a very eclectic month, to say the least. So the first new release in January that came was One Piece Odyssey for the PS5. And the reason why I pre-ordered this, mostly because I tend to wait for PlayStation games to get discounted once it's been out for a while, was to get the GameStop exclusive pre-order benefit. It's a very nice deal of just the Straw Hats gang, as well as some of the new characters that are featured in the game. I haven't gotten to this yet because I don't have a PS5, but I'm hoping to get one within the next couple months. But based off of the demo, this was a lot of fun as a One Piece fan. There's some really interesting RPG mechanics, especially the battle system, that I felt was a little fresh for the turn-based genre. But I think the highlight for me in the demo was just seeing the animations for the combat abilities and everything just come to life, and it was really pretty cool actually. All the different things you could do and all the different references from the show and the source material. So if you're a fan of RPGs as well as a One Piece fan, I think no question you'll probably enjoy this as much as I have so far. But if you're not really familiar with the source material, you're not going to get all the little subtle references or have these attachments to the characters. So it's not going to be as rich of an experience, but I think it would still be a little fun RPG game, since they do a fairly good job, at least in the demo, introducing everyone and kind of what the story is about, so you don't feel too lost. And the other new release that I've already shared a full unboxing for on this channel is Fire Emblem Engage. So this is a game that's definitely taken up most of my playing time this month, and I am very close to finishing, I think. I just need a few more days to wrap up all the campaigns for my playthrough. But I've been very much enjoying it and will definitely expand upon the thoughts that I left in my impressions unboxing video during my monthly wrap-up. And then lastly, for new releases, I also picked up Witch on the Holy Night. And this is a visual novel by Type Moon, and it's the first time that they've actually localized one of their visual novels. Type Moon is very popular in Japan, so it's interesting how they haven't localized any of their visual novels yet in the West, especially with the popularity of the Fate series when it comes to anime and those sort of things. But I've heard nothing but wonderful things about this visual novel, so I'm really excited to dive into it. I'm hoping to get to it after I wrap up Fire Emblem Engage, so hopefully sometime soon. So those were all of my new releases for this month, and thankfully the rest of my pre-orders are a bit more staggered throughout the year so far. I really try my best to only pre-order games that I know I'll play around release day. So this month was a bit of an anomaly, and I'm gonna now transition to all the reprints and re-releases I picked up this month, starting with Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle. So this is one of the licensed game based off of a manga anime that used to be very expensive on the aftermarket due to low print runs, both for the Nintendo Switch and the PS4 here. So Video Games Plus has been pretty diligent about requesting reprints from a lot of different publishers, including Koei Tecmo here. And they recently just released a wave of Ryza 1 and Ryza 2 copies that was out of stock, at least here in North America, for quite a while. But when it comes to licensed games, I do hear Attack on Titan 2 Final Battle is one of the better ones that have been released on modern systems. So this is an anime I do enjoy watching, though I'm a little bit behind. I'm only up to season 2, so I'll eventually need to catch up sometime soon. But I did end up going with the PS4 version over the Switch because I do hear the performance is a little bit better, especially when you're navigating with your equipment that hoists you up into the air and kind of lets you fly. So on the aftermarket, this game used to be well over $100, so it was nice to pick this up at MSRP and kind of see what all the hype is about this game, because I do hear a lot of fans of the anime really do enjoy this game. And the other Koei Tecmo reprint that I picked up from Video Games Plus this month was Blue Reflection for the PS4. So I do own the second game, Blue Reflection Second Light, on the Switch, but they never released this first game on the Switch platform. So I did want to pick this up for the PS4. Now I do hear there are a lot of flaws when it comes to this game, so it's Not perfect by any means, but I really wanted to give this a try because a lot of my friends have highly endorsed this and said that despite all the flaws, it's still a really enchanting experience. And my friend Brandon from Just the Gems did a little retrospective review recently, just saying how he loves the kind of melancholy feel and kind of had this nostalgic vibe that just really worked for him. And I have a feeling it would probably work for me too, since we have very similar tastes in games. And Gust is the developer for these Blue Reflection games, as well as the Atelier series, which I really enjoy. So I'm really excited to see their spin of this modern magical girl JRPG. So those were the main reprints that I picked up this month. I do have a few more that I got from NIS America, though I do have a little bit of a rant story. So I'm gonna save that for the end for those, I guess, who wanna hear me rant about NIS's customer service. But another reprint that I picked up at Video Games Plus that isn't super uncommon anymore. I think the publisher just did a mass reprint, so it's still fairly widely available now, is Fate Extella, the Umbrella Star. And I just mentioned the Fate series when I was talking about Type Moon visual novels. And so this is a little bit of a spin-off of the Fate franchise in the Warriors or Muso style. I am a casual fan of the Fate series. I still need to catch up because there's just so much in that whole universe. But I decided to pick this up because I do want to get this along with the other counterpart game. I think it's a sequel of sorts, that are now both available on the Nintendo Switch. So these Muso style games are never that deep, especially the earlier ones. So I'm planning to play it when I'm in the mood for something that's kind of relaxing and over the top, like a lot of these warrior games. Now these next two Nintendo Switch games are ones that I picked up during the limited run games blowout sale that they seem to have at the start of every year of just leftover inventory for people to have the opportunity to buy again. In this video, I'm not going to get into the messy controversy regarding limited run games. I bought these before that whole mess kind of blew up online, and I'm still a little bit hesitant about ordering from them in the future, though it's hard because they do have exclusive titles that I would want to pick up. There are a few that are up for pre-order right now I've been thinking about, but yeah, there's other reasons why I've been a bit hesitant to order from them. But my hesitation mostly just stems from, I think they are just juggling way too many things at once, and a lot of their kind of quality control and logistics have been kind of not the best these past few years. So I don't really know if I want to pre-order with them again and whatnot. But anyway, these are the games that I picked up during their blowout sale. This first one is an Idea Factory JRPG that for a while was available on the Amazon storefront for limited run games, but then they took it off for a bit, and it's still not there, but I think you can still buy copies directly through their website page. But that is Fury Fencer F Advent Dark Force. And so I wanted to pick this up because the sequel was announced. And while I hear it's not the best JRPG available on the Switch, I do hear it's still enjoyable. So I think this first one, as well as probably the sequel, will be worth picking up just to get that very niche JRPG experience. So Idea Factory are not known as the connoisseurs of the JRPG genre. They are often quite niche and low budget, but I feel like they're still very much worth picking up if you are interested in something a bit more lighthearted. And it's a good kind of in-between JRPG. If you're trying to play a bunch all at once, you kind of want that experience that's not too long and a bit campy to kind of just change up the pace, because a lot of JRPGs tend to be a bit overly serious at times. And then the other Switch game I picked up from on run was Fatal 12. So this is another visual novel, and I hear a lot of comparisons to the Danganronpa games with how they kind of do these trials and you're trying to figure out who's lying and that kind of thing. I hear it's not as theatrical and over the top as Danganronpa, but the writing I hear is pretty good and there's some interesting characters in here. I don't believe this is available on their Amazon storefront, though that might change in the future. Last time I checked, it is still in stock on their regular website. The next, I know I said that I was gonna put a pause on 3DS collecting, either in a December or November video, but I just couldn't really pass up this deal on Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. I found it very difficult to close off a collection or kind of put it on an inevitable pause. And I don't know, because I'm doing this for the 3DS specifically, I'm having difficulty, or if it's a bunch of fear and regret, kind of all playing a role with the upcoming eShop closure. When it comes to, I guess, mixed emotions regarding my 3DS collection. Because overall, I feel really satisfied with the 3DS collection I've been able to obtain these past few years. And I really don't have that many more titles that I think I really need. I think for me, there's just all these other interesting titles that sound interesting. I just don't know whether or not I would enjoy them or not. So part of me feels like I should get them just in case, but I guess the more logical side of me is thinking I don't really need those, and there are other games on other systems I would rather prioritize at this point. So at the moment, I'm just trying to complete my Professor Layton collection on the 3DS, and I'm hoping to kind of calm my regretful fears or whatnot when it comes to 3DS. So yeah, we'll see next month if I can finish off my Layton collection, and hopefully set the 3DS aside for a good while, or if I'll end up caving and getting some other games. So we'll see. But speaking of new collections that I've been wanting to expand upon, I bought 2 original DS games. This first one is one I actually got on Video Games Plus to qualify for free shipping. When I was browsing their website, I noticed they didn't have any original DS games, but when I went to use their search tool, a few of them popped up. So if you guys are also looking for DS games, you might want to just check their search tool rather than their category interface when navigating their catalog. So what I picked up was Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume, and this is my first sealed DS game since I never owned this back in the day. So after the conversion, this was around 30 USD, which I thought was pretty good for a brand new JRPG on the DS. This is one of the DS titles that I think you could still pick up new on Amazon and some other places for not too much. And I do hear this has some pretty brutal difficulty, especially in the late game stages. Unlike the latest Valkyrie Profile game, this is actually a tactical based game. And while it is pretty brutal, I do hear it's actually a pretty decent JRPG on the DS. So I'd like to eventually get to this one and kind of see if I want to get some more of the Valkyrie Profile games, at least the earlier titles. Since the most recent action RPG one has a bit the mixed reception. And then the other DS game I got was another JRPG that I picked up used on Mercari, and that is Nostalgia. So this is one of the JRPG titles on the DS that have been getting kind of expensive lately, at least from what I've seen online. This one I got around $70, which is, as I mentioned in my last video, kind of my upper limit right now for used games. But I hear that this is kind of a fun steampunk adventure where you fly around in an airship. So I'm happy to add another JRPG to my small little DS collection, and hoping to add a few more this year that won't break the bank. So this last game is one I got from the NIS America online store. And it's one that I've been eyeing for quite some time since it got a reprint, I believe, last year. And I haven't really seen it at or below MSRP from other retailers. So it's one that I was kind of keeping my eye on and waiting to buy with another game that I'll get into in a little bit. I don't want to cloud that experience with this game because this is one that I was really looking forward to adding to my collection. And that is this one, which I'm really bad at pronouncing this, YouTube Romano, Prelude to the Fallen. And I've talked about the other 2 games in pickup videos last year, The Mask of Deception and The Mask of Truth. And this is technically the first game. So this series unfortunately had some weird localizations where the sequels came out before the first game had a chance to in the West. So these are visual novel, strategy, RPG hybrids. So I've been waiting to get a hold of this game before I dive into them. And while I'm not sure if this was a reprint, this may have just been a restock because it is the Origins edition, and most of NIS America's reprints or restocks tend to get rid of the extra bonuses when they remake the game. This one comes with 2 discs, and it also has a nice book, which is something you don't tend to see in many games these days. So I'm happy to finally have the first installment of the series, so finally play them. So now on to my little NIS America rant. And so I've mentioned on this channel before how NIS America likes to do these restock or reprint sales, and they often release some sort of survey to see what sort of games people want to see restocked on their website. And so there are a lot of people who wanted the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince on the Nintendo Switch. And instead of having a big old event where they had a bunch of different reprints or restocks available at one time, they decided to just shadow drop the game at a random time. And unfortunately, this shadow drop sale really did not last very long. I think everything sold out within a few minutes, maybe 10 or 20 minutes at most. And I don't know if NIS just didn't have enough copies available from everyone, or not everyone filled out the survey, or kind of what the issue was, since they usually have a big old event whenever they do these reprint sales. And so while I was able to successfully place my order, unfortunately I did not receive the Switch version of the game. Instead, they sent me the PS4 version. So I contacted customer service, and I think it took them over a week to respond to me, which is very atypical for NIS. They typically have fairly good customer service, at least in my experience, and from others I've talked to online. And this is sort of where I'm probably gonna get a little ranty, so I apologize in advance. I'm sure I was very annoying on Twitter when I kept kind of documenting this saga on there. So days after they reached out to me about contacting their warehouse, I got PayPal to refund back for the price of the game plus tax, I'm assuming. They contacted me again a day later, saying, sorry, we don't have any more Switch copies. Please send back the PS4 version. We can't really do anything else for you. And so they sent me a shipping label and an apology, but I never really requested a refund or to send my PS4 copy back. So going into this, I didn't expect to get the Switch copy in the game at all, just given the high demand and the whole mess of what the shadow drop ended up being like. But I figured it wouldn't hurt to ask in case they had set aside a few copies to replace ones that go missing or break during transit or something. But yeah, I was just really annoyed that this customer service person just assumed I wanted a refund and I didn't want to keep the game. And I had to go into the trouble of sending it back, which I don't usually like doing. And furthermore, them refunding me so quickly without telling me these details about what to do. I could have just opened the game assuming I get to keep the game since they already reimbursed me. But I don't know, this whole customer service thing was out of sync in my opinion and very poorly done. And on further thought, the shipping label that they sent me to send back the game cost like a third of the price of the game if I'm going by commercial rates for £2 priority. And so it just seemed like a very absurd experience. And I did contact them about like, hey, I didn't really want to send back this game. I never asked to do this. Could I keep this game? But then, yeah, they took a few more days to get back in touch with me, and then they apologized and said, sorry, but if you want to keep the game, you'll of course have to pay for it. So if you want to do this, there's all these hoops you have to jump through to send back payment. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I decided to send back the game. But yeah, this whole customer service thing that took way longer than it should have, with really poor communication, totally soured me of the experience from buying off of NIS America, as well as buying a copy of the game if I were to pick it up at retail or cheap. It's just unfortunately how sometimes that happens too. Like, I know it's not rational for me to be soured, especially by the game, since it's not the game's fault, but I think if I were to have it in my collection, I just would still be kind of annoyed at all what went down. So yeah, that's my little rant. Of course, I'll probably be buying off of NIS America because I have a few different limited editions pre-ordered already through them. So I guess I'll still have to continue shopping through them, though I'm not gonna lie, I'm very salty about this. It's not like I was expecting a free game or anything, I just was very annoyed about the entire experience. And it's making me hesitant to buy more from NIS America in the future, especially if this is how they handle problems with their orders. But yeah, I've been talking for quite a bit. So that's it for my January pickups video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what some of your favorite pickups were from this past month, and if you were also able to snag any of the recent reprints we've been having lately. Next month, I don't have anything pre-ordered, though I'm very tempted to pick up the Octopath Traveler 2 Steelbook from Best Buy, since it's really pretty. even though I'm definitely not going to be playing that game at launch with my backlog. But I'm very tempted to get that steelbook, even though I try not to consider myself a steelbook collector for this very reason. But yeah, until my next video, bye guys.